Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pen Connect with Women Authors. We're celebrating women authors and their expertise in their field of writing all this month to celebrate the International Women's Day and month. For the purpose, we have curated sessions with these authors that we will host live on our Facebook page, Penmancy, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Indian time. Our first session, The Future of Literature for Children and Young Adults, brings together authors who have made their name in writing for youngsters and are here to discuss how expansion in their field looks like for us in the near future. Before we head into the session, I would like to pass on the baton to Sakshi Bhatnagar, who is the moderator of this session today. Sakshi is an educator and writing is her passion which drives her. She has been penning stories since 2015, but we managed to tap her skills only in 2018, and she became a vital part of our writing community. Sakshi is a pro at managing deadlines and has championed our event Sixpence, which is a collaborative writing exercise not once, but twice. Phew, it's quite cumbersome. But Sakshi has a vibrant personality and is extremely dependable, much like Rahul Dravid. Over to you, Sakshi.
Okay, thank you, Kajal, for having me here. It's been a great experience working with you already. So without wasting any more time, let's just bring in our panelists. So here we have Vibha Batra, a Chennai-based author, graphic novelist. I mean, I would like call her versatile Vibha because advertising consultant, poet, lyricist, translator, playwright. Oh my God, I don't know what else. So she has 17 books already in her name. The most famous one is Secret Life of Debbie G. So welcome, Vibha, and thank you for being here.
Hi, Sakshi. Thank you so much for having me and for warning the audience about me.
Okay. So next we have Apeksha Rao. She is basically homeopath turned author. And she is like author of India's first YA spy series. Oh my God. I mean, that is one of my favorite genre, you see. So the Spiders, her debut novel, Along Came a Spider. It is being published by Tree Shade Books, which is already optioned for screen adaptation. Oh my God. Even before release. I mean, that's quite an achievement. Welcome, Apeksha.
Hi, thank you for having me on this live. And hi, Vibha. I'm a huge fan of your books. So it's glad.
Okay. And last but not the least, we have Moulshri Mahajan, who has started penning down her stories at like age of 15. And her short stories and poems, they are being featured regularly in the Tribune. And from there, the journey is unstoppable. So she is basically, I mean, writing novels, like mystery novels. So Mystery of the Missing Buddha and The Mystery of the Forbidden Fort are some of her precious work. Welcome, Moulshri.
Hi, Sakshi. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited for this session.
Yeah. Okay, so I just can't wait for the session to start. Okay, so begin with, I have always been curious to know that why is there a sudden surge in the books written for children and young adults? I mean, all three of you, you write basically for children and young adults. So yes, all three of you are the perfect to answer. Okay, Vibha, can we start with you, please?
Okay, yeah, sure. So, okay, small correction. I don't just write for children and young adults. I have this why spare anyone approach. Okay, so I write for toddlers,
Okay.
I write for tweens, I write for teens. I've even written for
Okay.
senior citizens. I was writing for this magazine called Dignity
Yeah,
Diary.
that's
So,
a
yeah,
versatile Vibha.
thanks so much. If you mean it in a nice way, you can say anything about me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
actually.
So, you said there's a surge in writing for children and young adults. I only hope so, Sakshi, because we have so many stories to share, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we are getting such wonderful platforms to share them on.
Yeah, definitely we have. Okay, Apeksha, what do you think about it? Apeksha, can you hear me?
I think the supply. Yeah. Am I? No.
Uh,
One second. Let me.
yeah, Apeksha, I hope you are able to hear me. Okay, what are your views on it? I mean, why is there a sudden surge that books are being written for children and young adults? Okay, I think Apeksha is already facing some technical glitch. Okay, yeah. So maybe we'll have Apeksha back later. Let's move to Malshri. So kindly share your views, Malshri.
Okay, so Sakshi, this is actually a very interesting question. Um, See, I believe that until a few years ago, children's writing or young adult writing was not taken as seriously as it is being taken right now. The reason there is a sudden surge is because this genre is being taken seriously because it is diverse in the sense that there are so many subgenres in this. So you can be writing fantasy, mystery, romance, and having all these subgenres in this main genre has made it so attractive, not just for the young adults but for adults as well. And that is the reason I feel that it is being taken seriously, and more authors are coming up with it. Until a few years ago, I feel that there were only a handful of authors who were considered serious writers if they ever said that we write for children, and rest were not taken seriously. Since we are being taken seriously, we're writing more and with more enthusiasm.
Yeah, that is actually my next question. Like, we are already on a healthy diet of Amar Chitra Katha or R.K. Lakshman, and I mean, these are the kinds that we are already used to. So, what today writings, like writings we are having in today's scenario, how are they different? And what is like basically the difference, basically, that is happening? So, how are these writings different, and what caused that difference?
Okay, so shall I go first?
Yeah. Okay, okay, Vibha. Okay,
Okay,
so
or
Apeksha, I'll be
just back,
repeating the
she can
question.
add, yeah, she can add her views.
Yeah, Vibha, you can like start. After that, I'll repeat the question for Apeksha.
Okay, so you know what I think? I think now the trend for realistic fiction is very high. So
Yeah.
children want to see more of themselves in the stories. So I see a lot of that happening. So we're not just talking about mythology, or we're not talking about, you know,
Hmm.
moral science textbooks. These are fun books, these are relatable books, and children are able to experience their own lives through them.
Yes, actually.
So
Okay, so
I would,
Apeksha, yeah. So basically, we are discussing like we already have Amar Chitra Katha and the like in our wallet already. So what is like today in the today's scenario? How is the writing different? Yeah, can you hear me, Apeksha?
Am I? Yeah, am I audible to
Yes,
you guys?
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'll speak up a little. So, it's kids today. They're not living a life of Amachitra Katha.
Yeah, actually.
They want to relate to their what's yeah. If you want them to relate to what is written, we have to write about them, and we have to write for them. So we can't, expect to write uh, stories and expect children today to listen to you. First of all, that is talking down to children. When you're sitting at a position of authority and giving gyan, best way to lose interest because they are not interested in lectures. They want to
Actually.
listen and read. They want to read something and listen to advice that they
Yeah, being an educator myself, I can totally relate to it. Okay. Thank you. Apeksha, I would like you to rejoin. There is a little bit of voice glitch. Yeah. So please try to rejoin. Okay.
okay.
So, Malshi, my next question, yeah, is specifically for you since you are writing at since the age of 15. So, I want to know, like, what are the challenges you actually face? Because the thing is, we already have so many young writers, right? So maybe they are into it that they want to writing and they want to pursue their career in writing. So what are the challenges that you face? Maybe it will help our young writers to, get through it.
I think there are two main challenges that I personally face. One is how do I push the envelope? How far do I push the envelope? In the sense, what content should I pick up, and while using that content or writing it, how far can I go with it? In the sense, should I touch upon the very sensitive things or not? Should I take up social issues, and to what extent? And then, would it be accepted as young adult fiction or for the pre-teens, especially since parents also monitor what they're reading? So this is one of the challenges. And I personally feel that, we should take a midway. It should neither be too extreme in the sense that it leaves a psychological scar on the reader, nor should it be so light that there is no impact at all. So this is one of the challenges that I face. Second one is the vocabulary and grammar. So what do you think is the what do you think is the comprehension level of the reader? Now, this is a judgment call that needs to be made, because there are many readers who at the age of 9 have the comprehension level of a 15-year-old, whereas a 12-year-old might not have the same comprehension and might be still on the level of an 8-year-old as a reader. So how do you attack that? Because obviously, since you are an educator, Sakshi, you would understand not all the kids in the class are at the same reading level.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
This is one of the challenges. I've had readers who come and tell me that the book is very easy to read, but on the other hand, I was also told recently that with my second book that there are difficult words. Now, my intention is that if you pick up a book, even if it is for young adults, you should also be prepared to pick up a dictionary as well. I do not want to write such an easy to read book that there is no takeaway at all. I would like the student or the reader to at least take away a few new words, have a little perspective, different perspective. So these are the two challenges that I face, and I play it kind of midway, wherein it's neither too difficult nor too easy. Whereas I do pick up social issues, but not to the extent that the reader doesn't come back for the next book. So that's what I do.
Yeah. Okay, now coming to takeaway, now I would like to know from all three of you, is enhancing the comprehensive knowledge or just improving the vocabulary, are there any other takeaways? I mean, apart from perspective and whatever you have mentioned, are there any other takeaways that young adults or anyone reading your books can be having? Right. Apeksha, would you like to answer? What exactly are the takeaways you expect from your readers?
Audible.
That they yeah, you are audible, I guess.
Okay, I'm better audible this time. Am I more audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
So for me, the biggest takeaway, I read a book purely for the joy of reading a story and being entertained. Everything else is secondary. So when for me to pick up a book, I will not pick up a book that is dealing with. I will pick up a book if the blurb appeals to me, because the blurb seems if I know that after having spent a couple of hours reading this, I come away feeling like I've gone for a holiday. I'm feeling relaxed. That's what will make me pick up a book, and that is what I want my books to do as well. I mean, my book is a young adult spy fiction. It's acting as spy, entertaining, and that is what I try to do. That everybody who reads it takes that away.
Okay. Over to you, Vibha.
Okay, so for me, the biggest challenge, I would say, how to sanitize the vocabulary. For instance, when I was writing my young adult trilogy, Sweet 16, my editor pointed out my affinity to cuss words. She said, in one page alone, you've written some 20 times SHIT. So I said, oh gosh, no, that won't work. So I started replacing them with safe alternatives. For instance, I'll give you examples. What the fudge? Shut the front door. What an aerosol. So for me, how do I talk to young adults without pissing off the parents? Because, in our country, there are different ways of showing dissent because we are a democracy. So I don't want the parents to burn my effigies, pelt stones at my house. So, I find that challenging, just to mute down the lingo. And the other challenge, that's more of a writing challenge because that's social media. how to stay off it and how to just focus on the blank doc.
Okay, so what are the takeaways that you expect from the audience, Vibha? I mean, after reading your book, obviously.
Oh, nothing. What I expect, usually 5-star reviews and,
Oh,
a lot of fan mail. Sometimes
yeah.
that works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't really, for me, it's very important to write, and everything else, it's just all right.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so Vibha, basically most of your writing, they have one word in common, that is spider. I mean, what made you write towards that? I mean, what is the mind behind it? I mean, is this your favorite word or something? The spider series. I mean, what is like reason behind it that you have started? I Vibha, are you able to hear?
I think the
It's a
question is
question for
spider
Apeksha.
series.
No, no. Okay, I think there is technical glitch with
The
you as
spiders
well,
is
Vibha. Yeah, the spider. I mean, what is the reason behind the spider series or all the majorly the novels with the name spider that you have in your novels? What
Yes,
is
so
the
Apeksha
reason?
will tell
Itsy
you
bitsy
about it.
spider. I mean, that is the rhyme, obviously. So, what is the reason? I mean, my audience would definitely want to know.
Actually, because it's her book. So
Oh, so sorry, Apeksha. Yeah, so sorry. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, so
no
sorry,
worries.
Apeksha. Apeksha, are you able to hear?
Uh,
Uh,
are you guys able to hear me?
yeah,
Yes.
yes,
Not one. Not one. So actually, I love play of the word spiders.
yeah,
spiders because these are spiders, and I love the play on words. And the itsy bitsy spider is actually a prequel to a long game of spider to a series, and that as a child, it talks about her journey as a child, how she as a spy and trained her as a spider,
okay,
taking one step
okay,
backward into her childhood.
okay, okay. Okay, so when it comes to like writing, be it young adults or toddlers or anyone, so basically I want to know, is any of your writing relatable to your childhood experiences or just it came to your mind that you have to write for young adults and you all started writing? Okay, Malshri, would you like to go first?
Yes. So mine is all basically what I'm writing now is what 14, 15-year-old version of me, Malshi Mahajan, was
Oh,
thinking at that time.
okay,
So for me, it is 100% true. I have
okay,
grown up. I've grown up in Dharamshala, which is an amazingly beautiful place, and it
yeah,
gives you so much scope for creativity and imagination. And I still remember that looking out from my school bus or anywhere, forests, you could see rivulets and forests, and I would always wonder what all secrets, what all mysteries lie in those places. And when I started writing, it just came so naturally to me to write the same, stories that I used to cook up as a child. And
okay,
this is simply what I do in terms of the series that I started, the Sing Sister series. It is basically just a joy to write because it is me addressing the old me and making her happy with, putting it down on paper. So for me, it's 100% true.
okay. And how do you basically translate that to appeal the larger target audience, your own childhood experiences? I mean, the way you write.
Okay, so what happens is actually, of course, when we were children, it was a different time altogether.
Yeah,
Today's a different
definitely.
time. We grew up without cell phones. Today, I think it is so common that to not if if a child is not what do you say introduced to the cell phone at a young age, it would be such a crime. So I think what we had were a string of experiences that were very far off from the technology. Today's children, today's readers are well versed, much better than us in a lot of sense. So I think to address that in a way that is relevant to them, to write in such a way that it becomes relevant to them. So I do introduce a little bit of technology in my stories, but I also believe that the love of mystery is far bigger than the love of technology per se. If they have picked up my book, it is a mystery, I give them a mystery. I add a little bit of a cultural thing to it. The first book was based in Dharamshala, the second one is based in Jaipur, and I take them on a tour to the city, and then a little bit of food, a little bit of cuisine and culture. So by God's grace, that has been received immensely well. And it does sound very strange that a child would stay in, but I do get such but I do get these responses where they say that we really love the way that you described Jaipur or so and so fort and so kachori and all that. I think Apeksha and I in another session had this discussion about onion kachoris. So I think this is a universal joy. The kids enjoy it as much as we do as adults, and this is what I appeal to. I take a step back from the technology, but this is what I appeal to, something that we all love.
Okay, over to you, Vibha.
Okay, so, in my head, I'm a 16-year-old, Jurassic everywhere else, but young in the only place that matters, the head, people, the head. So, I write about stuff that would appeal to me. So, it could be anything I feel strongly about. And, I know writers are supposed to be, very objective, but I don't know how that works because, I'm totally into my book and, I put in a lot of myself, Meraki, as they say. So, yeah, but, Molshri said something about kachori, so I'm feeling totally distracted. So, yeah, that's how it started for me because initially all I wanted to do was eat. But I grew up surrounded by books and, I come from a family of authors. So it just, their love for the written word just brushed off on me. So, I've got to write. So I think it just comes from there.
Okay, so Vibha, you just said you were surrounded by books, right? I mean, we all were somehow surrounded by books during our childhood or teens. Now, children or young adults specifically, they are more inclined towards gadgets and technology, of course. So, I mean, what are the ways to incline them towards reading? I mean, even if they are reading, they are using it, reading it through gadgets. I mean, what are the ways that we can have them with the books on board? I mean, what, and is it really necessary? I mean, both the questions are there. I mean, how can we just incline them towards the book, and is it really necessary? I mean, what would you like to say? Yeah, okay, Vibha.
What happens every time there's a new supervillain that bursts upon on the scene. For instance, it could be something like internet, social media. Earlier there was TV, VCRs, DVD players. People say that's it. This is the end of reading. Children are no longer going to read, and they're going to satiate their love for learning somewhere else. But I think books and the love for reading is not going away anywhere for a long, long time to come. And I don't know if kids are reading on gadgets because I'm just my stomach is in knots. I'm like, oh my god, that's too much screen time.
Actually.
But how do you make them read? See, the best way to turn them off is to tell them, read this book, it's good for you. So how I would work it, I would try reverse psychology. I would say probably not for your age group. Then they are going to be like, oh my gosh, inappropriate stuff, I've got to read it. Or I would try, I would just leave the book around. I would and hope that they chance upon it and start reading it.
Okay, Apeksha, what would you like to say in this regard?
So I think I hold by the proverb. I hold by the proverb, "Jo dekhega wo sikhega." So if the child sees you reading, the child does not want to do the same thing that the parents do. So the best way to make your child read is sit with a book, whether it's a copy or you're reading on your Kindle or on your phone, but have reading time apart for yourself. Your children will start reading with reading.
Okay,
and as for gadgets, these days I think the situation is such that if my child reads anywhere, I'm okay with it. Whether they're reading on a gadget or they're reading with a physical in their hands, I don't care. Because if they have to have screen time, they spend their screen time reading rather than wasting time on social media. So, I don't mind You can read probably a physical copy in the day, and probably at night half an hour on the device. So
Okay. Okay. So, what are your views, Molshri? I mean, books versus gadget. What would you prefer?
See, I'll tell you what. I believe in something which is very very philosophical. I believe
Okay.
that a person who wants to read will read. And a person who doesn't want to read won't read. You can try your best. So if somebody, for example, there are some students who are into sports and not into academics at all, right? You cannot take them away from sports and push them into academics. Similarly, reading is a habit that you either have it or you don't have it. There is no midway. And somebody who wants to read or has been introduced to the joy of reading would always read. And a child, a reader in younger age would be a reader as an adult. That doesn't go away. Now, how do you make them read? I mean, if you were to ask me, of course, I would prefer them to read the paperbacks instead of reading it on Kindle or the lot of screen time. Now, how do you do that? Like Apeksha said, it is basically leading by example. What you are showing them, is it okay to be on your phone the whole time, or is it okay to pick up a book every night before sleeping? So that's how it works. This is what I feel how it works. As far as would they go away from this habit of reading? I don't think so. It is something that is forever. Be it Shakespeare, who was, who introduced us to literature in ways that we still refer to, although it is not
Exactly.
relevant in our lives at all. Reading would always be relevant. Some form of reading would always be relevant. It was, it is, it always would be. How it develops from here, it is for all of us to see. But obviously, my hope is that paperbacks trump over the gadgets any day.
Actually, and like the wonderful responses all of us are getting from all three of you. Okay, so does your work, like the famous ones, The Life of Debbie G by Vibha, the Spider series by Apeksha, and the Singh Sisters by Molshi, so have you undergone through any sort of research? I mean, what was that research? Basically, what made you write these, and what are the research or R&Ds what you have done? I mean, definitely audience would love to know.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
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 go ahead.
Vibha.
Okay. Yeah. So usually, when I'm writing another book, not talking about Debbie G, it's like, me versus social media. So I usually
Okay.
give myself this Shah Rukh Khan's Chak De speech, 4 minute. So I tell myself, तुम्हारे पास 70 minute hai. You can either while away time on social media and be filled with regret the next day, or you can do some of your best work. So, some days, I play life ki best hockey, and the other day social media wins. But for this book, the subject was social media. So I just went all out in the name of, research. Can someone see my quotes? Yeah. In the name of research, a lot of surfing, browsing, and, scrolling through my Instagram feed. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Apeksha. Uh, okay, what is your research work behind your spider
So I
series?
wrote a spy. So my research was a lot of reading in the name of research.
Okay.
I'm going to use. So in the name of research, I read spy fiction, young adult spy fiction, John le Carre, Frederick Forsyth, all of that. I read those books, and then of course I did a lot of. I did a decent amount of research, non-fiction wise. So I had this huge book on Raw, a lot of other books like Mossad and
Okay.
spy non-fic accounts of spies and stuff, and that was fun.
I mean, research versus reading. I mean, what to say? I mean, a deadly combination, I would say. Research plus reading. I mean, must be a lot of hours spent on it. Right, Apeksha, isn't it? Okay. Okay, Molshi, yeah.
Really
Yeah.
enjoy,
What?
and I get to tell my family not to dismiss because I'm working. and I'm actually reading. So
Yeah, okay. Okay, so coming to you, Molshri. Okay, so what is exactly your research work?
Okay, before I go on to the research work, I must tell Vibha that I'm going to steal this Shah Rukh Khan wala speech next time. Because that is required. Self motivation is the most difficult thing to do. All right. So, yes, a lot of research goes into writing. Yes, it doesn't matter who you are writing for. For that matter, I think that you need to research more when you're writing for young adults, because young adults, वो बस young जो word है वही है. ये this is a very smart generation. They are well informed, and they will catch on much easily than adults would. So your research has to be thorough in terms of whatever facts and figures you are giving. So when it comes to my series, like I said before, that I additionally talk a lot about the place that I set my story in. So Dharamshala is my hometown. So you would assume that since I'm talking about Dharamshala, I would be able to write information like the back of my hand. It doesn't happen that way. So when you are living in a city, you look at it from a different perspective altogether. You don't really know how many kilometers is it from my house to McLeodganj. I just know that it will take so many minutes. But when I'm writing it down, I want to be accurate in the information. So what research I have done is that I have searched for what is the kilometer wise, how far is it one place till another. When we talk about food, I want to be, now of course rajma chawal, everybody eats rajma chawal, but now how do you are writing about a cuisine in Dharamshala, can you justify rajma chawal, yes or no? Do you add something to this that will make it sound more Himachali and less Punjabi? So this is my research that goes into it, that I want to stay true to the essence of the place. Same with Jaipur. Jaipur again is I've studied in Jaipur. I've done hotel management from IHM Jaipur, and again I know Jaipur like the back of my hand, just like Dharamshala. But again, a lot of research went into it. I want to be very, very true to the place, the cuisine, the culture that I'm writing. I don't want to use inaccurate phrases, because the young adults will catch on. And moreover, why should I write something that is inaccurate? It is on print. I don't want something inaccurate on paper. So a lot of research, yes.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so do you keep actually the age group in mind while writing? I mean, I just got to hear that if you're writing for toddlers, let's say, I mean, toddlers, they more or less, they'll understand pictures more. Even if I'm like reading to them a simple tale of Cinderella, so they'll understand better when they are actually having Cinderella in front of them and whatever story says. So is there any age group that you keep in mind while you're writing, and how do you justify that? I mean, how do you do justice with that age group then? Let's say, let's take the examples of toddler. If you have written. Okay, Apeksha? So do you wish to answer?
I haven't written any book for toddlers yet. And because I'm 100% sure that it is going to be very difficult. You need to, you have to think like whatever age you're aiming at, you have to age when you're writing, because the lingo has to be right, the age have to be right, and you have to write something that age group can relate to. So like, it has to be picture books, and it has to be picture books with probably things that young writer is actually very difficult to write, difficult and easy in ways, but difficult in a way that it's very, very difficult to get into the mind of a teenager, because even within the teenage group, their thinking evolves within like a matter of months. If you're talking about a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, the way they look at things will be different. So one of the parts, one that I did when I was writing fighters, but I gave gave parts of the dialogue. I gave them to kids to read. So I gave to 19-year-old to read, and the feedback that I got was very different. So the 19-year-old was this is how we talk. The 14-year-old surprisingly told me, actually, we cuss a lot more, we swear a lot more, and I was like, use those words. Your mother will not buy this book. So I cannot. But the good thing about the young adult books is, adults like to read them. So it's not
Yeah.
age restricted.
Okay,
So
it's not
people
age.
who love to read YA stuff. Yeah. So easy and difficult at the same time.
Okay, so do you wish to write for toddlers then? I mean, I would ask that. I mean, do you wish so? Because your debut novel is already for 15 plus.
Yeah. So I'm writing a middle grade, but I think as
Okay.
like toddlers, I'd be very scared to write. I've seen a picture being written, and it's a lot of hard work.
Okay, so basically, I mean, what is the inspiration? I mean, do you draw your inspiration from the kids? I mean, from your kids, if you have. What is that inspirational source that drives you into writing? Apeksha, I hope you are able to hear me.
This is for me. Okay, I thought.
Yeah, no, I'm just
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is for you. I
So
mean,
my kids are
what
currently.
inspires you to write? Apeksha, you're not audible
So my
actually.
kids are only 4.5. So not inspiring me. Should I even come back? Is this better?
I think it is.
Okay. Okay. So my kids are only fighting me much these days, but I'm a teenager at heart. Like Vibha said,
Okay.
be a
Yeah.
teenager.
So,
I'm going to be a teenager until I die. So that's what inspired me.
okay. Okay. So, Malshri, what is the source of your inspiration basically when it comes to writing?
Okay, so Sakshi, now my source of inspiration is that when I was growing up,
Oh,
we did
yeah.
not have enough Indian authors writing in this genre. This is where my I feel very deeply about it, because I remember that we either had Nancy Drews and Hardy Boys
Yeah,
in
actually.
mystery genre for young adults. So we either had Hardy Boys and mystery and Nancy Drews, or then we had these Hindi comics, that was
Hmm.
available, newspaper wala bhaiya, and we had Nagaraj, and even with the DC comics, the Phantom was called Betal. It was not Phantom, it was Betal. So we had this huge gap in between, wherein somebody like me who's a lot into mysteries, I would like to read an Indian author's perspective. I would like to read about my cities, my culture, and so on. So I remember that there was a huge gap. I have drawn my inspiration from that. Much later, I discovered Nilima Sinha's The Jewels of Chandipur, which, if you ever get a chance, I recommend it to everybody, which completely changed my perspective. I used to
Okay.
think that nobody is going to even publish Indian authors' mystery book for young adults, and that book really changed my perspective. It was published by Children's Book Trust, and that is exactly what I was looking for. But that is the only book that I found, and a few of other
Okay.
books. So my inspiration is that the girls, the preteens and teens, girls and boys both, who are looking for adventures closer to home, who want to read about cities that they're familiar with, those are my inspiration. I want to write for them. I want to give them the option of picking up a book that they might find relevant to their culture or relatable to their culture. That is the whole idea, and here we are.
Okay. Okay. Vibha, I believe that audience would definitely want to know, like, is there any way we can have like Harry Potter series, the successful, how successful they are? So can we have that success in India as well, like with your writings or with any other Indian writers? Do we have that success rate in future, maybe?
Yeah, I can
I mean,
only hope, even as you
so
talk,
you
I'm just
wish to
my
be J.K. Rowling and have that Harry Potter success.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Ghee shakkar, so fingers and toes crossed.
Okay, so I mean, so basically, I mean, so can we think that all three of you, or might any of you, are like bringing in such of those series or something? I mean, we can wait for it definitely. Yes, Vibha.
Something like Harry
I'd like
Potter.
Yeah, something like Harry Potter, or maybe different, but in a series.
Yeah, well, as they say, never say never. So why not? Let's just watch
Yeah,
this.
definitely,
Yeah, I mean, not
definitely,
in
definitely.
the space. Yeah, maybe my social media space. Is it okay to plug it in here?
Uh, I mean,
Okay.
okay,
No, let's keep
okay.
it.
Yeah. So, any message that all three of you would like to give our young generation, or maybe the audience who are like on board already? So, Apeksha, I mean, any message that you wish to leave?
Yeah, I would love to tell people to tell the young adult crowd to follow their dreams, to believe in themselves.
Apeksha, you're not audible. I think again there is some problem with the network. Okay, Vibha, what is the message that you wish to leave?
Okay, my message is, see, it's like love. When you love someone, you should never keep it to yourself. So my message is the same. If you love an author's book, please reach out to them and let them know, because it would mean
Yeah,
the world to them.
wonderful, wonderful. Okay, moving to you, Monshri.
Okay, so when it comes to reading, I want the young readers to read something and anything. Just read. Obviously, we are all different people. We all have, different inclination towards reading. So I have never read, even as a teenager or in my early 20s, I'm not inclined towards reading romance. I've always loved mysteries. So do not go by what your peers are reading. You pick your own genre. You want to read romance, mystery, fantasy, something that relates to, that is a little bit strong. For example, we are talking about racism these days and the hate that you give this book. So these books that appeal to you, and they might be dark, they might be light, you need to read something. And that's my only message, that keep reading. Do not restrict yourself to one genre just because your friend is reading that, and try out all the genres. Pick one that suits your taste.
Okay, that's a wonderful message indeed. Okay, so as we are moving towards the end of session, I can already see there are a lot of questions put up by the audience. So let's move on to those questions. So the first question is, which genre is the in present generations kids especially they are keen to read? I mean the kind of books. Okay, Molshi, yeah, we would
Okay,
like you to answer.
yeah, so this is a little difficult question because it is not for us to judge which genre would the reader pick up. It's a little difficult question for the author to respond to. I like I said, everybody has a different inclination, but I believe fantasy or the lighter reads with a lot of humor are the ones that are in for the long run. Those are the ones that appeal to the kids. The books that they find relevant to their own childhood or the things that they're going through, that is also something that is relevant. But for me to say that mystery is more popular than fantasy, or romance is more popular, it's very difficult to say, to be very honest. But I think fantasy and any book that has a lot of humor is the one that is extremely popular.
Okay. Well, when I was a teenager, I was more into suspense and the Sydney Sheldon. She's my yeah. Okay. Okay. So, Vibha, I would like you to answer the next question. So, how do you keep yourself updated with the latest trends of Gen Z? Like we have only Enid Blyton or these kinds. So today's kids, they are more into Wimpy Kid or Dog Diaries. The question is from Lalita Ramnathan.
Okay, hi
Okay, so
Lalita.
Lalita wants to know.
So in two ways. One, I just tap into my inner 16-year-old, and the second one is, yeah, I read everything that's out there for young adults and middle age, middle. Look at me, I'm saying middle age, middle graders. So just read everything inside.
Okay, so I hope Lalita, you got your answer. So Lalita is again asking, so do you have any techniques basically to boost the creativity while writing? I mean, that is actually the very, most asked question it will be. I mean, it will help me also while writing. Okay. So Apeksha, would you like to answer? What are the techniques that boosts your creativity while you are writing?
So I
Uh,
one is I read a lot. So I read at least one. I mean, I read one book in 1.5 weeks. How fast I read and how much I read. And another thing that helps me if I'm blocked, if I'm not able to write, is something I call procrastinating. So like you procrastinate, I procrastinate in bed,
okay.
and when I'm in the door, I'm counting out, and that's what helps me.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And it's actually, it's wonderful, speaking to all of you. I mean, okay, so Shweta Singh, she's also asking the question. So, what is more important while writing, experience or imagination? Okay,
You want to
Molshri? So,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So I
experience or
believe that,
imagination?
see, imagination is the key. Imagination is the key in the sense without imagination, you won't be able to create anything. And this doesn't just apply to writing, it applies to all art forms. You have to be imaginative to start writing, start painting, or, pick up any other art form. But the next step is experience. You start with imagination and then you gain experience in the sense that how to polish your writing, how do you use better words, how do you appeal to the target audience. That comes with experience. But you start with
Yeah.
imagination and you just work on your imagination with experience.
Yeah, wonderful answer. Okay, one more question I want to ask. Like, if we are like for novice writers, basically, so what exactly the steps I would say, or what exactly the approach a novice or a beginner should follow? I mean, if a beginner is writing their first blog or maybe the first story, so what is the approach that should be followed? I mean, I won't say to make it a success, but at least to reach out the like bigger audience. I mean, what exactly that person should write? Maybe even if that person is not able to select the genre, basically. So, Vibha, please, can you please help me out with this?
Okay, absolutely. I'm going to answer it, but I don't know if it's going to help. So, for what it's worth, I think if we write straight from the heart, we write about things, we feel really strongly about. I think that's going to translate into paper, because if we are convinced about something, I think that conviction shows up on paper. And I'm sure, it's going to reach out to another person and, just connect directly with them. So just
Okay,
write
okay,
about what you feel strongly about.
okay, okay. So this question is from Sonam Singh. A book leads to imagination. So how do you maintain that the book or content doesn't backfire the thinking of young adult? Okay, that's actually the important question. So Molshi, I think you will be the best one to answer because you are writing as 15-year-old already. So
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know about best person to answer, but I'll give you my answer. All right. So, see, when we talk about content backfiring, now you have to take a little bit of risk. For example, I earlier mentioned that there are books that talk about racism. We have very
Yeah.
relevant writers in today's time. So if let's say if I talk about book that has a bit of a dark what do you say, dark plot, or is talking about some social issue that is a bit controversial, then you have to be a little delicate with it. But then remember one thing: if you have decided to pick up that issue, either don't pick it, play it very safe, go with something that is easy to write and easy to read and get it over with. But if you have decided to write about something that is serious, then you have to do your homework right. And don't make it too dark. This is again my opinion. Don't make it too dark that it leaves a psychological scar on the young adult mind. But there are books that have achieved cult status just because they touched upon very tough topics. And we can if you are going to play it safe, not everybody is going to like that, but not everybody is going to like a dark book as well. So Backfire, just stay true to yourself. Do your research properly so that you are giving out information that is accurate, so that you know that what you're talking about is correct. That is how you do it. Now you are saying that it might leave a bad bitter taste in the mouth of the reader. Then of course the discretion has to be there when the parent gives the book to the child, or when the child is picking up the book. But then this is again very something that needs a lot of judgment on the part of the author as well as the reader. It's very simple, Sakshi.
Yeah, thank you, Moultrie. It's the wonderful answer. Okay, Vibha, I would like to know, are the publishers, they are open to picking books for young adults?
I don't know how to answer that actually, Sakshi, because a lot of rejections and a lot of acceptance.
Exactly.
So the answer is, somewhere, in the middle. So just keep running, keep trying, and you never know.
Okay, so Apeksha, so your book is already out for screen visioning even before the actual book was out. So I mean, how do you manage to sell the screen rights basically? So I would love to know.
Okay, so screen rights, I was lucky. Screen reached to me before my book, when my book was announced. Siddharth Jain of the Story Inc. He is a book to screen agent, and now he's done producer as well. So he reached out to me, and good interest, and his company, they wanted to part produce it, and now it's been signed by Abundancia, the people who've like Breathe and who've created movies like Shakuntala Devi. So what you need to do is approach a book screen agent, and they will guide. They will. You need to pitch a book to them, translated onto screen in a big way. That's when they take it forward and they pitch it to users.
Okay. Since no more questions, I guess, are coming in. So yes. So I think we'll end up the session now. So it is actually, I mean, for me, it is actually a learning experience, interacting with all three of you. And thank you all three of you that you took out time. And, I had this wonderful session basically. So more or less, I'll be, incorporating these things into my upcoming writings. Maybe I'll win one contest on Penmancy then. So I'm actually trying to no success as yet. So thank you, Apeksha, Vibha, and Moultrie for this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sakshi,
for having us. Thank
you.
Kajal, you are on mute.
Lovely session.
So thank you so much for taking time out today and making time for this discussion. I am sure whoever was on board and listening to us has got quite a lot of faith for their upcoming work. And I'm sure all the inputs given by you will be helpful for everybody who was listening to us. I thoroughly enjoyed the session. I just hope that we get to interact more on subjects which are closer to our hearts, closer to our work, so that more and more people can benefit. Thank you so much for making time for Penmancy today. We'll see everybody in our next session on next Sunday at 6 o'clock. Till then, thank you very much and have a very good evening.
Thank you, Kajal. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Vibha.
everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kajal. Okay.
Thanks. Bye.